Welcome to the Greener Gifting Gang
Powered by
podcast, the
Riverside
show that
Gift
delves
Wrapped.
into the reasons we love to choose, wrap, and share gifts with each other. Hi, I'm your host, Eve Kale, founder of Gift by Eve, and I'm on a mission to help you experience the joy of gift giving while also considering the planet. Each episode, I'll be sharing ideas or interviewing guests who will help inspire your choice of gifts and how you present them. Whether that's for your own gifts or products you create or sell in your small business, will help you consider how to make small changes that can help your gifting be a little greener. Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of the Greener Gifting Gang podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Now, this first episode is all about me. I thought the first episode would be really useful just to give you a bit of background as to what this podcast is all about and how Gift by Eve, which is the name of my business, how it came about and what you can expect from the podcast, the episodes that I do on my own and the episodes that I have with some of my guests. So this is just a short introduction to explain a little bit about me, who I am, and why you should listen and tune in. So how did it all come about? So the podcast is called The Greener Gift Podcast, and it's actually named after the membership I have. It's part of my business, which is called Gift by Eve. But I haven't always been a gift wrapper in terms of a business. I have always been somebody who loves sharing cards and gifts with people, making the gifts look nice. And it's always been something that I remember having a lot of fun with and something that brings me joy. I guess putting a nice package of something together, thinking about somebody else and sharing that with them has always been something that I've enjoyed doing. So it felt natural to me that this is something that I was drawn to when I began thinking about having a business. I haven't always had my own business. I first came across self-employment while I was on maternity leave. So I have two children. They are now 13 and 10. And I first got into being self employed while I was doing the toddler group circuit or the baby and toddler group circuit while I was on maternity leave. So that was back in 2012. I was on maternity leave from my corporate job. After leaving university, I went into the world of marketing. I'd done a degree in psychology, but I decided to apply those skills to the practical side of psychology in marketing and advertising. So I had a 12-year career in financial services marketing. And as with lots of careers, flexibility, certainly 12 years ago, 13 years ago, was maybe not as flexible as it is now. And I didn't feel like I wanted to go on that journey of attempting to be flexible. I was in a position where I was lucky enough to be able to have the option of not returning. And I knew that between myself and my husband, one of us needed to be more flexible so that we could be at home. So that was me. And I decided to take a bit of a break. I started settling into parenthood and doing the rounds of all the baby and toddler groups in my local area. I am based in Chippenham in Wiltshire, in case you didn't know. So it's a nice smallish market town, lots going on for parents. And I was doing the rounds of the toddler groups and discovered at one of these toddler groups somebody with a stall of cards and gift wrap. Now, as I said, I've always been somebody who loves sending things to people for birthdays or other occasions. And, I was used to be able to go out in my lunch hour. Buying things online like cards and things like that was not as easy as it is now. So I was really excited to be able to look at all of these lovely things, all the lovely paper and stationery while I had my little one in tow. Although I didn't actually buy anything that day, I took a brochure home with me and I placed an order soon afterwards. And shortly after that, I realised actually by looking at the advert on the back of the brochure that I could actually join in the business and do this too. So if you're not familiar with the term direct selling or network marketing, the business that I joined was actually a network marketing business, and that means you get a business in a box by joining up. So you spend a small amount of money to buy the starter kit, and that means that you can then be a representative for that company, for that product, and you can sell them. Lots of people in my position who are at home, often parents, but not always the case, often start doing things like this when they love a product, because you can save money on the items that you're buying yourself, and you can also introduce some friends and family to them as well. There are people who do this as a hobby. There are people who do this as massive businesses. At the time, I hadn't really thought further ahead than the fact that I could save a little bit of money on all the stationery and cards that I wanted to buy. So I didn't really do anything with the business side of things until a little bit later on. But as I soon realised, there was a lot more to this than met the eye, and I really liked it. So I built my business up gradually over a number of years. My daughter came along 3 years later, and by that stage I decided that I wanted to do more. I built up a little team of other traders who were working alongside me, and I really enjoyed it. So I was going out and about doing events, selling the cards and the other items like gift wrap through our website, and in lots of different ways. I really enjoyed it. Although I had not sort of set an intention to start a business, here I was running a business and doing something with a product that I really loved and that brought people a lot of joy. So further down the line, I realised actually that the company was mostly known for its greetings cards, but there were all these other products. There were so many lovely things, including gift wrap and tissue paper. And the gift wrap in particular was made in the UK. It was eco-friendly, and people weren't really looking at it. They were mostly just looking at the cards. And I realised that actually if I showed people how to use it or displayed how to use it, then they were more interested in it, and then they would buy more. I mean, this was a retailing business, and it was important to me that, that I was doing a good job and sharing the whole of the product range. So what grew from that sort of small idea was that I could offer workshops and show people what to do. So I started doing that, and I started sharing the workshops at groups like the WI in my local area. I started to get a little bit of a reputation for what I was doing. And so I was somebody who's doing something a little bit different from maybe the other people in the network marketing business. So I really enjoyed that. And I had in the back of my mind an idea about what I might do with it. But at that point, wasn't confident about developing it on my own. And it was just that idea. But a seed of an idea had been planted. And then in 2020, as we all know, lockdown happened. And we were suddenly all at home and not able to go out and do events and not able to sell in the same way that we had been doing. And I suddenly came across all of these people who were doing their businesses online in lots and lots of different ways. And that gave me some water, I guess, on this seed of an idea, and it started to grow. I really got quite excited about the idea of what I'd been doing, these workshops that I'd been doing out and about. Well, maybe I could share those with people online as well. So the idea was born, but I wasn't quite ready to do anything with it just yet. And it took a few more years, in fact, for me to make the decision that that's what I was going to focus on. And the decision in some ways was made for me. So the original business that I'd started back in 2012 had evolved into a second business. But sadly, that business announced closure in spring 2023, almost exactly 2 years to when I'm starting this podcast, in fact. And that helped me make my decision. I'd had this idea bubbling away in the background, and when the closure was announced, I thought, right, this is the time, this is what I'm going to focus on now. And that is when Giftwrapped by Eve was born. And so for the last nearly 2 years, I have been an independent business, and I'm on a mission to help you experience the joy of gift giving whilst also considering the planet. So what does that actually mean in reality? Well, what it means is that I help you to learn the skills that you need to wrap your gifts in a way that's going to be planet friendly. So that might mean reducing waste. It might mean making more sustainable choices about the materials that you use before you make that decision about what to wrap with. And it could be that it's for your own gifts, or perhaps it's for products that you create or sell in your small business. And I do that in two ways. I do that in person through workshops and events, but I also now do it online as well. And I host a masterclass online every single month, and it's part of my Greener Gifting Gang membership. And on this podcast, you're going to hear from some of my members who are going to be some of my first guests. And I'm sure over the series of episodes, you'll learn more about the membership and what it has brought to each of the people who've been involved. So that is a bit of a quick whistle-stop tour of how I got to where I am now. And I am a big podcast fan. I love listening to other people's podcasts, and I often listen when I am doing things like organising my stock for my website, when I'm doing household jobs, when I'm going for a walk or for a run. And I had this idea to do this podcast probably about 18 months ago, and now I'm doing it. So I'm so excited that you're listening. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you will enjoy the episodes that are coming up. Some of the episodes will be like this on my own, and some of them I will be interviewing guests. But in each episode, I'm going to be sharing ideas, and all my guests will help inspire you to choose your gifts in maybe a different way than you had done before, and perhaps present them in a different way as well. We are all about being planet friendly wherever we can, and in the business and on the podcast as well. So everything's going to have a bit of an eco-friendly twist. That doesn't mean that we're perfect. It means we're going to be giving you ideas and inspiration to help you give consideration to the planet when you are giving gifts and receiving them as well. And I really hope you enjoy the episodes that are coming up. Thank you for listening to the Greener Gifting Gang podcast. For free resources, head to giftwrappedbyeve.com/freebies and follow Eve on socials at Giftwrapped by Eve on Instagram and Facebook.